she found a way into my heart.
I'll bring Cindy. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Collegiate Star League. It's the Rocket League playoffs, and we're in round 2. I am Meet and Greek. Joining me tonight, this very special evening, a very special caster. I just gotta say this, and I say it all the time. One of the best looking casters in North America. It's Nick Vaudeville and Brosek. Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, especially after getting all these compliments from you, George. I'm glad that I got a chance to get on the mic with you here today, and we have some pretty awesome Rocket League action with the Collegiate Star League playoffs. 64 teams leading up to this. We're in the second round of it between these two teams. It's going to look pretty good because both of them 3-0'd their opponents to get to this point, so this is looking to be a pretty solid matchup.
They did. So this is Uncc. It's our first match of the evening. Uncc versus Stockton University. So these two teams are very solid overall, and it's going to be very interesting going on. I believe this is UNCC's A team. And this is a very, very deadly team. I haven't seen much from Stockton over in CRL or in this TCA, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they go and face them. However, it's a best of 5, so we have a lot of Rocket League in this series. I'm pretty excited, Nick, and I think these players have waited quite a bit of time. I don't know about you, but I think we should get right into this series.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're just ready and waiting to get on the field and start things off strong for game number 1. But we'll see how both these two teams fare. What are some little background info you can give us on UNC Charlotte? Because we have seen them compete in the other collegiate tournaments, but this is going to look pretty good for this best of 5 to see this other team that we aren't as familiar with.
Yeah, you know what? Well, UNCC played so well in CRL, but this game is starting up 5 minutes on the clock. Nick, let's get this.
Yeah, plenty of great action so far in the first few seconds. A demo coming out from SU, and there's a chance for them to...
A little bit of technical difficulties, but it's okay. It's okay, Nick. This is why I'm here. I can take a little bit of the play-by-play for you. That's totally fine. But we're only 30 seconds in. We're getting some great action here. On the side of Stockton is UNCC is starting to really pressure, getting big demos on the play here from Sykes, but it looks like this ball might start to get a hold on the orange half. Spooky face. Can't get it past that midfield line. And Nick, right now we're seeing a lot of interesting stuff from both teams. I thought we were going to see more UNCC offense, but it looks like Stockton was able to turn it around a little bit and kind of just put themselves in a good position. .330 left in this game. We got our first score coming in from Dark. And you know, what led to this play was that big demo right there, and it just opened up the offense.
Yeah, some great offense so far, and some great play being shown off by Stockton University. They had a lot of aggression in the opening minute and a half, and then eventually just paid off for that first goal.
Nick, I'm going to hand the play-by-play back over to you. Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm ready after a few technical difficulties to get back into things. And I'm sure Stockton University are as well. A great shot from Large to put that one through. The defense of UNC Charlotte, not the greatest so far.
Yeah, you know what? This is so uncharacteristic of UNCC. We usually see them really being the big bullies out there. So... And this trio, Spooky, Deweys, and Sykes, they're usually so on par, but again, it's just not connecting right now.
Spooky had a chance to get a touch there, but just completely missed it. Luckily not going to get punished by the opponents. Stockton University go up for this one as Dark, not really the greatest of touches, and has to give it up to the opposing offense. There's one from Sykes. Gets it to the left side. Dark will take it forward. But in the midfield is Spooky, ready and waiting. Past one, not past the other. We'll get reset yet again, and Stockton are just going to take that all the way by themselves. Large is doing so well on offense for this team.
And this goal kind of reminiscent almost from RLCS Season 1 from over 0, just carrying that down the field. But where's the defense coming in for UNCC? I just don't see it right now, Nick. And that's a shot that really has to get tossed away from that net.
Yeah, we've only seen 2 saves so far from UNCC, and Stockton's actually had more saves and even more offense. 4 goals now as we hit the halfway point of this first game.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
just
looking good at all for UNCC.
And it didn't look like it there, but actually Spooky Face got dunked. Actually stomped into the ground away from that play, and UNCC, they're getting a whole run over right now.
I think the best plan for UNCC at this point is just to clear it as quickly as possible from their side and make sure they always have someone back on the defensive end, because every time they've been attacked, they're just making some defensive mistake. And this time, they're not going to get counterattacked so easily. They have someone there in position, able to knock it away, and might have a chance to go on the offensive for once, because we really haven't seen too much out of their offense so far.
Yeah, and don't forget, this is a best of 5 series, so hey, they could be going into this game a little cold here. They probably haven't played Stockton yet, so it could be a little bit of a feeling game. Anything could really happen going into game 2. We've seen some very mixed results from previous Rocket League matches here, where maybe you drop game 1, maybe you come back in game 2. A lot can change in 5 minutes.
That's the best way that UNCC can take this match so far. They are down by such a huge deficit. Might as well make up their game plan for the next one of the series to try and get back into it and tie things up. But it's not said and done yet. They might be able to get some final goals, or at least a single goal, before things end in the final minute and a little bit of play is remaining on the clock. Might be one there from... These names are so interesting from these players. Sykes, Spooky Face, and Dewis as Dewey's on UNC Charlotte.
I just love the teams on Stockton too. We got Dark and we got Large. and we got Maple Syrup.
You know, we got to have tons of variety with that, and we also have a variety of shots just being showcased by Stockton University so far. 5 of them going in with such great precision as well, and the defense just hasn't had an answer so far.
Yeah, you know, like UNCC goal is just getting peppered all game long, and we're talking about the defense is just not showing up for them, so they really do have to make those adjustments going into game 2. They can't forget about their defensive rotation.
Oh, there might be a chance there as well, but we'll get cleared aside again. And every time we see something out of UNC Charlotte, they're just getting sent right back to their defensive half and getting taken advantage of by the offense, just putting those booming shots over top of them. They aren't really having to make passing plays from what it seems.
Yeah, it's tough, Nick, because it's tough because I expect so many great things from this team, but they're just getting dominated right now. And I know they're much better than what they're showing right now, so I really hope in game 2 they can really come and bring that. I want to see this be a close series. I don't want them to get 3-0'd right here.
Might have just been a poor performance from not being warmed up enough in the first game, but they're going to be looking forward to that next one and starting off with a clean slate at 0-0, not being down by such a huge deficit as they were at the halfway point of that first one. So if they clean up that defense, which has been the main lacking point, they haven't had a chance to really get on offense except for Sykes there, but they might be able to pull things off in game 2.
And it's not that they weren't able to really get on offense either. They still managed to pull 6 shots out. It's just the quality. It's the quality of those shots just was not there. And we were talking a little bit about how those passing plays just weren't showing up at all. Like, we need to see more group efforts. We can't go for solo plays. If you're UNC Charlotte, you have to work as a team. Stockton did a fantastic job of that this first game. That's why they scored 5. So going to game 2 now, Nick, like, there's a lot that needs to be changed, but UNCC, if you want to be able to move on to these later rounds of this tournament, you need to adjust. And this is a perfect opportunity to prove not only to themselves, or not only to us, but to themselves that they can do that. So if they can turn this around, they can maybe start something really magical here.
Yeah, game 2, they might be able to change things up. Like, I still need to fix some issues that I've been having with the technical difficulties of my microphone.
Oh, you're good.
So I'm going to hand it off to you for a sec while I try to assess some of those damages. But hopefully UNCC can pick things up strong in the first minute of play.
Yeah, we'll see how this can go out here, folks. Remember, I'm a color caster, so play-by-play. It's a fun time when I'm in the booth. Let's just go with that. Spooky Face can't get that one centered perfectly. Maple Syrup getting up just in time. But Maple Syrup again trying to do a lot more. Going for the saves, trying to go for the clears, but just no dice. This ball, though, UNCC doing a great job keeping this ball centered. Spooky Face striking 20 seconds in. Oh, excellent play here, but Dewey's did a fantastic job to get it past the last defender. Spooky Face cherry picking that one in. I'm loving it. We're seeing some great offense here from UNCC, and that's a great start. That's a great start for them. They want to turn it around after game 1.
Great way to start, as you mentioned. They got that first goal that they were lacking the entire 5 minutes to play in the previous game. of this best of 5, and it seems that I have somehow made it
But it's okay, Nick. We all still love you. But you know what I love more? Some great Rocket League is this ball was just desperately trying to get out of the Stockton half, but UNCC just turning up the Jets on Dewey's. Can't get there, but Spooky Face keeps the ball in the half. Big bump on Dark, and then a shot from Sykes. So much just went into this play. Everyone in on it. I'm loving the energy from UNCC, from Spooky hitting it up in the air. Sykes with the finish. I love the bumps too. We're seeing some great plays, folks. See some great plays now, folks. A lot of you probably watching are in the collegiate scene, so I want you in the chat. Tell our wonderful broadcaster Peter what's going on. Who do you think's going to win this series? Give them your energy. I want to see it. I want to hear it all, because now, man, we got a series. If UNCC keeps this up, and Spooky Face is keeping it up.
Spooky Face just scaring the defense, it seems, on this one, completely faking them out with the whiff on the aerial, and then eventually able to recuperate afterwards and put it through.
And Nick, you sound so great right now. I'm going to hand that play-by-play back to you.
Awesome. Just made sure that I fixed some of my technical difficulties. And it seems that Maple Syrup has fixed some of his. He was doing quite well for himself, of 100% accuracy in the last game, 2 for 2. And this time he got a great shot, hits it off with a double touch into the net.
Yeah, and it looks like Spooky actually would have been able to get maybe a touch on that, but again, those kickoff goals, they happen so fast, it's so hard to readjust on the play. So, hey, you know what? We'll give Stockton that one, but UNCC, let's see if they can keep it up, or will they choke? Oh, no, the catch.
It seems like you kind of called it right there. We saw a great attempt by Larchie, who was trying to keep up with it with a potential ceiling flip, but it just did not work out well at all. Dark was in position to take advantage after it dropped down right into his clutches, and he put it through and get it within one, with quite speed between Stockton University's goals compared to UNC from what we've seen.
Yeah, 2 kickoff goals, almost 3. Wow, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, there was another chance for one there, but gonna have to back off on this play. A great save by the defense, and they need to clear it away. There's Maple Syrup in position. Now comes Large down the field. Can't get the touch he needs, though, and it does get knocked aside by Spooky Face, the MVP so far for UNCC on the second game. Maybe Sykes can get it into the air, pass it forward, maybe go for another pass himself. There's one from Maple Syrup. Great setup from his teammate. Dark trying to get a reception as well, but no dice as Maple Syrup goes for another one. No block in sight. Here's Sykes, but push forward. A great connection with his teammate. Still not going to lead to anything just yet for UNCC. Now Maple Syrup having to give that up to Dark. Oh no, he completely missed it. So did his teammate, and there is Dewis in position.
And just defensive mistakes you hate to see it, but great job on Dewey's to capitalize on it. I was playing earlier with Navy Striker and Threes, and they're both Grand Champ players, and I asked Threes, what do I do? Should I play the ball as if the opponent is going to miss? And he said, yes, as long as you have people back. Well, Dewey's had people back, and he played it like the miss was coming through, and it worked out so well. I'm loving this aggression from UNCC.
Just a high-scoring game all around for each team so far. We saw so many from Stockton University, this time from UNCC. They're able to almost put a 5th one in there, but can't sneak it through. Maple Syrup desperately trying to carry his team towards the other side of the pitch. Here comes Large, though, with the air dribble. Not enough, though, and there's Dark with the finish.
And this is unfortunate here for the defense, because I believe that was Sykes in the net, and again, like a good attempt on that first ball, but you really got to get that thing away from the center. You got to hit that outside. I can understand the attempt, though, and that was a good way to stop that first shot, but you really got to think about the whole equation when trying to move that ball around the field.
You got to have the mental math in your head as soon as you're going for any sort of angle, and eventually you'll be able to pull it off. A lot of these people make it seem like it's just muscle memory from all the training packs they've been practicing, or maybe they're just used to it by playing so much Rocket League. That one, you should probably hit those, but his teammate will put it through instead. Spooky Face now with a hat trick to his name.
Speaking of training packs, I'm pretty sure there is one called "You Can't Miss These," and that probably would have been in there, but Spooky Face was there to finish it off. And this is a very different UNCC. They're playing a lot more confidently here in Game 2. I'm really loving the energy that they're bringing to this. I'm excited to see what they do continued in the series, but I'm also excited to see from Stockton if they can start to bring this back.
There's one from Dark off the backboard. No connection, but there's Maple Syrup with the pop-up. Again off the backboard. That's a terrible touch. And there's Large.
Oh, Nick, so savage. So savage, Vaughn. I love it. I love it. But, man, just unfortunate. You had two defenders in net. No one can make the backboard read, and that's so important, especially at this level of play. If you can get up on that backboard and get those cleared outside or downfield, you're going to be golden. You're going to eliminate so many problems on defense, but that problem just accentuated itself right there.
Oh, goodness. Almost went into the back of their net. They still have a chance to come back if they can prevent this from going through, but that's not going to be it. Perfect positioning from Duas, able to shove it into the back of the net and make it so their lead is even further from Stockton University to try and come back.
And what UNCC is doing a fantastic job of is just ruining the rotation here. You can see everyone was so confused on Stockton. No one knew where to go. And it's just that relentless pressure from UNCC and moving the ball around both sides of the field. It kind of just makes everyone get stuck.
We might see that happen again here for UNCC, just stuffing the defense, making sure they don't have a lane to exit their side of the field. Dark gets one, but it gets sent back their way into the corner. Large will take it forward. Only a few seconds remain for them to try and bring themselves back by 2 goals to at least get us an overtime. There's been 10 goals so far in this second game, George.
Yeah, no, it's been an absolute, just straight up savage fest here. I'm loving everything we're getting here, but man, the defense needs to wake up on both sides. Because right now both teams are playing, oh, let's just score more than the other team. They're not thinking about this defense. They're just going straight offense, and it makes for an exciting series. But it's going to be very difficult adjusting into the later games when things get so much closer.
Like how we used to see OCE when they first joined RLCS as a region. They just were going as many goals as they could with those dominants, but there's one almost at the last second. UNCC able to take the victory in Game 2 to tie things up. Now we're even Stevens for both of these teams.
Oof. UNCC, I'm liking it. You guys fixed your mistakes. You fixed your problems, and by that I mean you fixed your offense. The defense still needs to work.
Still a bit lacking.
Still very lacking. Remember, they lost. Was it 5-1 first game? So they won 6-4.
I think it was like 5-0. They didn't even get a single.
Oh, they didn't get a single goal.
No.
Whoops. Just kidding. 5-0. But hey, UNCC were just like, let's just score 6 goals and not worry about defense, and it worked out very well. They still had some saves. They had 4 of them, but again, Stockton put on 9 shots, so hopefully you save 4 of them at least. It's just, oh man, there's a lot going on in this game for both sides. Both sides just need to work on the defense.
Maybe the strategy is just to pull out offense, and then they're just going to go with it from there and hopefully take the victory just by overwhelming their opposition. And that's what UNCC did in that second game. 8 shots from Sykes himself. So they were looking a lot better. They only had a few shots in the last one. This time, able to actually break out their own end and put some more pressure towards the Stockton University half. And they just need to continue with that. You know, everyone goes back to the whole John Madden saying, it's like you just got to score more goals and then you'll win. That's the way you do it. And that's what
that's how Rocket League. Yes, the team that scores the most goals against the W. That's exactly what it is. But I mean, that can only go so far. I mean, it's never wrong. It's never wrong, but that mindset can only take you so far.
We'll see how far it can take UNCC if they can get the victory here and the lead in this best of 5, but not too quickly. As a great deflection from Duas, it does knock away. There is a chance for a counterattack. The Dark regains control of the ball, tries to take it forward for his team away from their own defensive half of the field, and there's a great touch by Large, just barely missing the mark.
Those are ones you have to put on target.
We saw that happen a few times by the Stockton University team in the second game. They were just barely missing their target, and that was really the difference maker. There wasn't a lot of saves from UNCC, so maybe they just need to put more pressure themselves towards the defensive half of UNCC. But looking pretty good for Spooky Face if they can push it through. And there is Sykes to help him out and put it in himself.
And it just looks like the defense was so rushed here. We see the double commit from Dark and Maple Syrup. Dark tries desperately to get back. It's just not working. You gotta be trusting of your teammates, everyone. Like, watch this game and don't do that. Learn from this game, because that's not how you play defense. You gotta be more careful, more team-oriented.
Yeah, we'll see that from a lot of the teams that progress even further along in the championship bracket, or the final bracket as well. But Spooky Face is going to take it underneath the attacker. He would try and get it past Large here, bait him out or something. Doesn't work quite well. He was ready and waiting. Does hit it away from their side. There's a setup for Dark. Goes towards the net. Duas is in position and will lend Spooky Face a lane to break out of their own half. There's a chance here for a solid touch. But again, barely off the mark with these shots.
They are indeed, but UNCC, they're putting so much pressure. They're only winning by 1, though.
They really need that goal buffer if they want to get the victory here, because it's not going to last for too long, especially the way we saw such a high-scoring game in the first two. This is like the longest it has taken for either side to really score a goal. We saw one early from UNCC, but that was about all she wrote as far as it comes to pressure. There's some there, but the great defense that has improved on Stockton University. They're taking your tips seriously, Great.
Yeah, they are. You know what? What helped right there is they got a really nice fast aerial going on, able to get up and touch that ball away. And it was just a little techniques here and there that kind of helped out, but again, it's mostly the positioning on the defense, and that's no. Oh no.
Speaking of the defensive
positioning,
you always like are calling it when they just make a perfect mistake. They were in position there. They just didn't react fast enough to the shot. They thought the king was going to get it as well, but he just completely missed it.
He was positioned in the middle of the goal, and he wasn't positioned in the back. If he was positioned in the back post, he would have been able to drive up and hit that ball away.
True. Would have been able to react faster as well. He could have gotten in the way, but just did not think he would get past his teammate at that point in time. And it is going to lead them to being down by 2. Might be a chance here, but does get sent back whence it came into the corner. Maple Syrup making me hungry right now for some more opposition for their side, because we haven't really seen much at all from Stockton University in Game 3.
Maple Syrup right now making me think of DreamHack Dallas, where you're going to go, Nick, and we're going to get some pancakes at 12 a.m.
That'll be the best way to celebrate if they are able to get the victory in the end, but maybe it'll just be to celebrate the other team taking a bite of some maple syrup and pancakes themselves. But we'll have to see what happens at the remainder of this series. Still a best of 5, currently 1-1 for both these teams, and looking like UNCC, things continue this way, are going to take this one and go up by 1.
Yeah, and it looks like just your Stockton just not playing as fast as UNCC. UNCC's really stepping up their game. They're getting the 50-50s in their favor. I'm loving the aggression, and they're really keeping this ball on the blue half for just most of this game. They're not really allowing Stockton to make those offensive possessions.
Okay, if that went in, that would have been a great way to make something good out of a bad situation. We saw a whiff at the midfield line for their team, but it's not going to lend them any favors so far. Still down by 2. Minute remain. Haven't really seen much aggression from Stockton. They only, well, now they have another one, but they have 5 shots to the plenty that we have seen from UNCC, and a lot of theirs hasn't counted, but there's the one that matters from Dark, set up by Maple Syrup.
And right here, this is so crucial here. You're under a minute left. You get that first goal, and shout out to Maple Syrup for getting that in position. I know that you have the defender coming right at your face, but you're able to just get up and hit that right over him. I love it. You know, just I want to see them time something. Nick. Honestly, like I want to see a very close series.
That's what we always hope to see, but I'm sure the players just want it to be as quick and simple as it can be for them to get the victory and move on into the later stages of the bracket. We do have 30 seconds less remaining for Stockton University to get that 1 goal. Grant us that overtime we have been graciously waiting for. Maple Syrup almost in the position for the block. Dark sends it back to the midfield for Large. Maple Syrup misses the touch, but they can't really get the bicycle kick they need to set themselves up. Will go back towards their side. A perfect setup from the opposition, but it won't lead to a goal. Might be able to keep this up. Need to if they want to tie things. There's the touch from Duas down, and UNCC take game number 3.
So for this game, I think Stockton did a lot better than game 2. Clearly, because the scoreline agrees with that. However, it took them 4 minutes to really get started on offense. Like, we only really saw them start to threaten in that last minute when things got really sketchy for them. So if they can bring that same level of urgency, maybe not necessarily urgency per se, but just that same level of pressure into game 4, they're going to be able to bring a lot more towards UNCC. And a lot of it also has to do with that time of possession. UNCC really kept the ball on the blue half for such a big portion of that game that they were able to just kind of smother anything that Stockton tried to create. So Stockton has some things to work on. I think they have the right mindset, though, after the end of that game. Let's see if they can apply that.
Defense has been pretty solid even after the goals we did see scored by UNCC, and just haven't been able to transition on offense like we saw happen to UNCC in that first game. But now we see an early shot, a second one as well. An overwhelming offense, too much for Stockton to handle.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Maple Syrup, maybe caught a little flat-footed, tried to pre-jump that, did the best he could. Given the situation, I got to give him big props for being able to get up and readjust, but just when you're at that angle, at that position, you're not going to get a lot of power on that ball. So easy score for UNCC. They're going to take that every time.
Ooh, there's a great touch to set himself up. Duas takes it forward. Let's get knocked away by Dark, but Spooky Face in position. Sykes, perfect touch, but will be sent away from Large. It's Dark just jumping and pirouetting in the air to try and get the touch there, but it's not going to lead to much other than some continued pressure from UNCC. Can't get the center they want. No one's in position. Very dangerous spot to be on defense as well for Large. They just are waiting for the ball to drop down and try and get the clear. Eventually they are able to succeed in that effort, but sent back their way by Spooky Face.
Yeah, that's actually my worst fear when I'm playing Rocket League is when you're on defense, you see that ball in the air. It's like a sinking feeling in your heart. You're like, something bad's about to happen.
It's like you just got a scrape while you're in shark-infested waters and you're waiting for them to just strike and you can't tell where they're coming from. That's the way UNCC have been acting to Stockton so far in this series. It's just waiting for their moment to strike, dissecting that defense perfectly, and it's been paying dividends so far as they still are up by 1 in this series and 1 in this game.
Yeah, and even if they didn't have that first goal, I still would give a lot of props to UNCC because they're just doing exactly what they need to do. What we saw from last game is just to eliminate the Stockton offense. Just keep them on defense for the whole 5 minutes. You won't have to worry.
Yeah, just play the slow game, hold on to that lead. Don't need to score too many more goals. Always good to have a buffer, though. Have a 2-goal lead like we saw happen in the last game. Now they'll just be able to run away with it and take the series. But still a chance for Stockton to try and bring things back. They can tie things up. They haven't been able to consistently at all. We saw it happen in the first game that UNCC took. They weren't able to bring things back to a tie game much at all. And they were down by 2 in that one as well.
Yeah, but the thing with Stockton right now is they can't get any clears. Like, they're getting touches on the ball, but immediately UNCC just getting on top of things and just keep on bringing the pressure. That's so big for them right now. And if you can just eliminate every opportunity that Stockton can have to at least put the ball in the orange half, then you're going to be set.
They're eliminating the opportunities and eliminating the amount of boost that Stockton can grab to try and get those clears. Eventually, they get one down to center, and it actually pays off. Too big of a clear. Overcommit from UNCC pays off hugely for Large.
They got too comfortable. Maybe Sykes, maybe could have gotten there if he didn't go for the boost. Not too sure. Maybe he should have just went right for the net, but man, like Stockton, they were kind of trapped in their field for a couple of minutes there. They still got out of a goal.
Shows that one good clear can lead to the tying goal you need or even the victory, but there might be a chance here from Duas. Hits it off the side. cleared by Large. Now he knows the way to get it away from his own end, but not going to last long enough. Sykes is in position. Large hits it to the corner. Nobody really there to challenge Spooky Face. He gains it back. Not the greatest of touches there. Sykes hits it with a center, almost the completion as well. And this will be a chance for Stockton to get on offense. And there's the connection and the demo and the goal. There is what they needed for the opening way to bring themselves back into the lead.
And when I saw Dark hit this pass, I was like, all right, yeah, the defense is there. Someone's gonna be able to clear it. I know he gets the demolition too. I don't know if that demo really would have helped out because it looks like that ball was placed just in the corner where no one really had a chance, but I still love the energy that this team's bringing.
Been able to bring things back. Knew if they just held on long enough on defense, eventually they'd be able to break past the offensive line that we saw from Uncc. Large just dangerously waiting deep inside of his own net, but able to get the clear. No boost in the tank to work with. That won't matter as it sets up itself for Dark off the ceiling. Sykes can't get it past Maple Syrup. Not really the optimal position to be in on offense. They do manage to keep it in the end of UNCC, and with a great double touch by Large, extending the lead, and has the hat trick to his name now.
So Stockton's a team, I guess, that just wakes up in the second half of games. Like this is just how it's happening. Because for the first just 3 minutes here, it's just all UNCC. Like, oh yeah, UNCC's about to close out this series. We're not going to game 5. But all of a sudden, Stockton, they get 1 goal. All right, they start to bring up that pressure. They get 2 goals, and now they're playing confidently. They're going up there for the 50-50s. They have 3 goals now. And all of a sudden, it's just a completely different team.
It's probably the most even we have seen the series so far, even with the lead from Stockton University. UNCC looking desperate to try and close things out early as we see them looking pretty good. You mentioned in the first half of this game, and then as soon as Stockton got the 2 goals, it was just all over from there. Now there's another great setup.
Oh, wow.
Another great save by Spooky Face. Manages to center that towards midfield off the post, but not going to be enough for them to bring things back. Will be Stockton tying up the series and giving us game 5 for the first one of the broadcast.
All right. Stockton University coming back, forcing a game 5. And again, yeah, they woke up in that second half of this game. I see you guys doing this. You guys, they just wanted to write a better story, bring it to game 5. It's always more fun that way. And our wonderful viewers at home talking about fast aerials and stuff like that. They're gonna love seeing a game 5. So, oh man, Nick, we're getting some good stuff. And plus, we forgot to mention, your mic didn't really go any like robotics. Your mic didn't go robotic.
You know, that's the way that we were able to be granted with game 5 situations. Like there were some issues with the teams in the first few games, and my microphone as well. It was just an awkward situation. But eventually, we were able to clean things up on both sides, on the pitch and with the production equipment, and get things going strong into this final game. One thing I do want to mention, though, for Stockton, their defense, crucial for their victory there. Look at all the saves. We can't really see it now, but if you look at all the saves that they have had throughout that game and the other ones as well, it's going to be mainly a game of defense versus offense and counterattacks for Stockton to try and get the victory here.
Yeah, indeed. But hey, it's game 5. Anything can happen here, folks. UNCC could come out with the W, or Stockton can really come through and steal it away. But 5 minutes on the clock. VOD, take this one away. I'm excited for this game 5.
That's going to be another great one. We already see Stockton trying to start off the bat strong, get that first goal, not take as long as they did in the last one. They want to be comfortable going into the remaining minutes of this final game 5 situation that they have found themselves in. Able to come back from the brink of elimination. Now they have one final shot at it, but there's going to be a shot that might put UNCC through to the next round, as we see a botch cleared from Large, a great touch from Sykes, and the double commit actually paying off for once.
And we don't see the rotation coming in for Stockton, but again, they were playing it as if they were going to win the 50-50, and I don't know, against UNCC, that's very tough because they're a very strong team. I wouldn't play a little bit more conservatively against them. But to each their own, let's see if Stockton can make it pay off.
Potential for a clear here if they can just get a grasp of the situation going on the defensive end. Large does deflect it towards midfield. Sykes off the wall and continuing on with his pressure that he's applying to the defensive side of Stockton University. A great clear though, straight towards the net and saved away by Sykes. They do put another one straight towards it, and there is Dark with the cleanup crew.
You know, I'm glad Dark was able to hit this in because I called that as in. So Dark just making sure I wasn't wrong. Dark just making sure I wasn't wrong.
He wanted to make sure that we made the right calls here on Collegiate Star League, but we are able to be accurate with our assessments. I mean, he's been listening to your advice so far, making sure that they are able to improve their defense. And oh my goodness, there's a great way to do that. Saving that boomer of a shot with the coordination from UNCC, but there is a great save again by Dark. I thought that was going in for sure.
No, he just caressed that along that goal line ever so carefully, like he was carrying a baby, and it worked out so well for him.
Best way to do
What
a save from Sykes as well. That was basically in the back of the net, but here is Spooky Face on the counterattack. Can't push it through the defense. Again, so close on both ends of the pitch for either side to get the advantage in Game 5. It's going to come down to one simple mistake leading to the leading goal for either end.
Oh, you know, it'd be great if this went to overtime. Now that would be intense. That would be intense indeed.
We'd finally get an overtime.
Yeah.
Been wanting one this entire series. It looked like it was going to get to one in Game 3, but weren't granted it, unfortunately. But we did get this Game 5. Might get a goal there from UNCC as Sykes was in position. Spooky Face off the wall. Not the greatest of setups. Actually goes back towards their net, but nobody rotating and challenging at all from Stockton University to make them feel any sort of pressure. They don't have to sweat on defense so far from what we've seen.
Yeah, but again, like both teams just really struggling to find their groove. Like, yes, they both scored one goal apiece, but we're not really seeing that distinguished possession on both halves of the field. They're kind of, I don't want to say almost ping-ponging it back and forth because it's not really the case because they're starting to get some possession going on, but it's just not concrete.
Spooky Face and Sykes both double committed on the play. There's been a few opportunities for Stockton to try and get a counterattack going, but they just haven't been in the right spot for them to capitalize on it. Dewis, great shot. Or not really the greatest of shots. It does get cleared aside. Dark,
nice.
Can't get the touch either. I had to correct myself on that one. Didn't really get a shot at all. It was just a touch.
He's going to watch this VOD later and be like, uh-oh.
Just got to call it how it is sometimes. It's the role of the play-by-play as it goes off the corner. Dewis, almost a good shot there as well. Have to give him credit where it is due. Sykes just looming on the offensive side.
Oh my gosh.
He actually saves it for going in an own goal from Dark. He's going to be kicking himself after that one, as that could have been the goal they wanted to close it down.
My gosh.
Here's one from Large. What devastation on the UNCC side as it goes off Spooky Face into Dark and then onto Large as it goes in.
Large pre-jumped that so early. Did you see how much boost he just used on that and played again into position? I'm loving it. Oh my gosh. Large so big on the field right now. This could be huge.
Large and in charge is what we got to call him at this point, because that's all he has been so far this entire series. On offense, again, a great touch to the corner. Now Spooky Face in control. Not long enough as Dark is ready to strike into the heart of the defense. Maple Syrup back to Large. Just a slow shot towards the net. Maple Syrup can't get it past. Neither can Dark. Here's a chance to keep up the pressure from Large. There's Dark with an opportunity. Maple Syrup with the overcommit. Might have been able to get there if he backed off. And here's a counterattack option. Might tie things up. Trying to change it up as well, but barely off target. There we go. No, it's not. They do get back in time. A counterattack for Dark, but no boost in the tank.
I can't believe that didn't go in. Oh my gosh, 10 seconds left.
Might be a final chance here for UNCC. Get it to an overtime. About to hit the ground. Dark sends it down. Does go towards the backboard. Is popped up by Large. Duas is going to
No way!
As he gets the final last second goal. No time remaining on the clock, but that's all they need is it to be here as they make it so we get our first overtime in Game 5.
Large and Maple Syrup, there's 0 seconds on the clock, and you decide to double commit in the corner instead of protecting the net. Oh my gosh, UNCC with all the momentum.
What? Okay, that would have been insane if Duas got the block there. Sykes just ready and waiting. Duas sends it back. But now, Stockton able to send it towards the net themselves. In midfield, baits out Sykes. But they get the boost along the way. Gonna make the defense struggle a little bit to get a clear here. The Sykes. And nobody in in net, but nobody in position on UNCC to capitalize.
Well, it's because they're both playing so conservatively right now. No one wants to make a mistake. For Game 5 overtime, oh man, this is high pressure.
That would have been all the pressure that Stockton University would need to push it through and get themselves onto the next round. But there it is, a great shot from Maple Syrup over top of 2 defenders. Nobody on the goal line, and that is where they chose to strike.
And again, like I hate to call it Spooky Face. It's the second time now. Not just from Spooky Face, but from UNCC in general, where that ball just lands in the center of the field. The attempts to clear it outside have failed, and you have to hit it outside. Stockton was given the freebie. Oh my gosh. And I don't know if y'all can see this, but in the chat, Large is saying that he's shaking. I'm shaking too.
Yeah, I'm a little stressed after that one. I'm sure the players are. Insane series from both ends of the pitch. Stockton able to take the victory after going up early in the series. Got the first game, looking like they were going to be down and out in the last one, but they were able to bring it through, close things out. Stockton University eventually taking the victory there, 3-2 in the game and 3-2 in the series as well.
Well, that was our first match for the evening, folks. Just saying.
I hope the next one lives up to that as well. It's got some big shoes to fill.
Seriously does. Oh my gosh. Well, our next match is going to be another good one, folks. We have Michigan Tech going up against it's Michigan University going up against UIUC, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Champaign. One of them will yell at me.
Just say University of Illinois. That's probably the best way to do it.
It's probably the best way to do it. But folks, I think we're going to take a quick break maybe. We're going to be right back. We're going to get this next match set up for you folks. So don't go anywhere, but actually go get your snacks, go get your bathroom breaks, get your popcorn, because we're going to see some very memey teams out here. I promise you. I just speaking from experience with UIUC and also and Michigan's side as well. I've seen some of these players around the CCA. So you're watching Collegiate Star League. It's the Rocket League playoffs. We'll be right back.
Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. Don't pause, press play.
When it's coming at you like monsters in the night, and you feel the danger that makes you wanna hide. When the cards are stacked against you and you're standing on the edge, now's the time, now's the time. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can overcome.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Collegiate Star League, Rocket League Varsity playoffs. That's a mouthful, but you know, these players are really bringing it all they got to get to the big ending here, folks. But we're only in round 2, so these players trying to get to round 3, and what better matchup to show off Nick, I just lost every word out of my mouth.
It happens sometimes.
Just
this
completely
series.
This series,
it takes the words out of your mouth, literally, as we just saw
There's so
happen
much to
there
talk about.
for George. There is too much to talk
There's
about.
too much to talk about. UIC, Navy Striker, substitute for Sway Esports. We got Shock, placed on afterthought, and we have Tie Scraper, who subbed in late CRL last season in replacing Soul Flares. UIUC still played very well with him, so I'm expecting great things out of this team. On the other side, with University of Michigan, I am seeing some very familiar faces. Of course, we got Buddha, and we got Kulis, and we also have Shiny Boy, a guy who I've actually, oddly enough, encountered in Slapshot, believe it or not. Of all games to encounter someone in matchmaking, I encountered Shiny Boy. Shiny Boy's a great player, too.
He's been around for like such a long time as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. U of M, they're such a great team, but I hate to say it. I just hate to say it, but UIUC honestly is one of the best teams coming out of the North Conference. They did not qualify for the CRL Springland here. This does not discredit them though. This is a very, very solid team, and I expect great things from them. But I want to see Michigan make this a very competitive series. I want to see them take some games, I want to see Michigan take the series. That'd be intense.
It's going to be pretty tough for them to do that, especially against the Titans on the field of Rocket League that they're going to be facing off against. You already told everyone who they're going to be facing off. Shock and Navy Striker alone could probably 2v3 a lot of teams that are competing in this, honestly.
Navy Striker was carrying me in rank earlier today. I definitely brought the team down. I definitely did. But he is so cold and calculated with his play. I expect to see a lot. But again, these players are not waiting. Let's get them on the field. Let's start this best of 5 minutes on the clock. It's game 1. I just expect great things from this series. VOD, take this one away.
It's going to be University of Michigan facing off against the University of Illinois. So we already start off with an air battle between Shock and Shawnee Boy. Probably going to be seeing a lot of that between those two players. Buddha just trying to go and eliminate Shock from the back of his own net. Open up that opportunity for his teammates to strike. Not as much competition, but speaking of Shock, the strikes we have seen so far. Great one from Tie Scraper. Not the greatest clears from Buddha.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they're really trying to get that ball downfield instead of centering it. And that's actually a big thing that we saw in last series as well. And it's these little tiny mechanical things that you can work on, Nick, that really can change the outcome of games. Okay, Shawnee Boy.
I guess Shawnee Boy is going to be one of those things that are going to change the outcome of the series a lot of times, as he's able to get that off the kickoff, orchestrated by his teammates, Buddha and his teammate Koulis, and then they're just able to tie things up with quite speed and precision that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, maybe Shock could have hit that with a fast aerial, but it's such a tough position to be in on your own line in front of your net, so you can't really discredit him too much.
Especially right after a kickoff as well. It's hard to be as prepared as you can be unless you're able to just do the perfect read off of kickoff, or if they do a fake kickoff and you're prepared for it. Koulis off the corner has to rely on Buddha back at home base, but Shock going for a dribble of his own. Can't get past the demo, but doesn't have to. His Navy Striker is there with such force and ferocity that he shocks the teammates of the opposing force.
I think Navy Striker hit that too fast that the game just decided to give him the goal, even though that was right into the defense. Oh my goodness. Just the speed.
Feels like speed is going to be the main factor between these two teams, to see who can strike as quickly as possible into the back of the net, put the shots on that the teammates on the other side can't react to as quickly as possible. University of Michigan down by 1, but not out yet. Well, I might have said that a little bit too soon, as they are now down by 2 goals. Navy Striker yet again getting this one after an unfortunate touch by Koulis.
I just don't understand how Navy Striker is able to read these things, but that's just what happens when you're a good player, and we're talking about that speed, and it's so important. He's turning potential 50-50s into 100 zeros. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a 100% chance of him getting to that ball first is really making up for so many things on the field.
Those Firebirder 90-10s that he always has. You don't want to challenge him with a 50-50 because it's just going to go his way at the end of the day. But this time, Buddha might be able to take it forward. Navy Striker sends it all the way to Koulis, who read him like a book and puts it through to almost tie it up and bring it in within 1.
And it seems like University of Michigan, whenever it seems like UIUC is starting to pull away, and they come back with an answer. And I'm loving the T-plays that they're starting to get off. And that's going to be very crucial going against UIUC here, because they're not going to allow many goals.
Now there's another chance for Navy Striker off the ceiling, but Koulis ready and waiting to get the clear on the punch. Now Buddha Off the corner, almost snuck it behind Tie Scraper. Shawnee Boy tries to send it back towards his teammate for a good clear opportunity. There's one with a great center, and there's
Shawnee
the strike
Boy!
from Shawnee Boy. He dies it up. He's been elementary on offense so far, as he's been able to just pull off all these reads. No problems at all.
Elementary, but he might as well have a PhD in physics because he's just all over the place. Excellent shot on the net, but like, man, it's just UIUC. They don't know how to deal with these team plays going on right now. But okay, Navy Striker. Do you know how Navy Striker came up with that name?
How did he come up with that name?
So when he was younger, he liked the Navy. I think he wanted to join the Navy. And he also played, he was positioned in soccer with striker. So he combined the two. And it's the iconic name that we all know and love today.
It makes sense that he's able to pull off those attacks right in the enemy's lines and always in position just to sneak right underneath them, get in position, put that towards the back of the net time after time after time, especially off the kickoffs, like we saw happen in that last one. Crucial skill to have in these later stages of the playoffs, but Shawnee Boy looking to do some damage of his own. Coolest off the Buddha. No connection, but there's one for Navy Striker, as he just has a free lane of entry, but sends it away instead.
You know what's scary about Navy Striker? Is that he's actually like so much better now than he was in last season of CRL. Like this, he's just grinding it out every day, and he's doing such a phenomenal job. He's catching up the shock in terms of just being on the radar for these bubble teams. He's subbing for Sway now. There's going to be much more in his future, I can guarantee it.
I might just be wanting to sub at this point so that he can grind out in college and then get through that and maybe go for a rival series spot on his lonesome with some, well, not on his lonesome, with some teammates to help him out, but he might be looking for the carry as Tie Scraper. It might be a good teammate for that, as he is able to get one past Shock. The hit off of Coolest into the corner for the setup.
And we're not talking about Tie Scraper at all, but he's the one with 2 goals right now. So just think about this. Like, he's a very excellent addition to this UIUC squad. I think he rounds them out very well in terms of just letting Shock and Navy just kind of go for those aggressive plays. He likes to sit back a little bit and do the cleanup, and that's perfect for him.
Coolest off the Navy Striker. Drops down. Shawnee Boy can't really do too much with that one, but will follow it up, and not a connection at all on the play. Buddha had to try and cut in to buy some space for them to rotate back to their side. Navy Striker sneaks it past. Just has to wait on his teammate to get in position. That's going to go through. Now 3 goals up against the opposition.
And right here, it's just a cleanup from Tie Scraper, but where's the defense? Where's the defense from Michigan? They're letting this game go, and, you know, they kept it so competitive here in Game 1, but all of a sudden in UIUC, they're starting to run away with it, and this is bad news. You can't allow this streak to keep going on for UIUC, or else they're going to take this momentum right into Game 2 and start out very hot.
Ooh, off the backboard, will get cleared out. Navy Striker into the center. Shock takes it forward, and Shawnee Boy actually sends it back towards their own net. Luckily, Buddha was in position. Almost not enough, but Shawnee Boy uses everything in his arsenal to clear it aside. Double commit on defense. And again, not going to lead to any clear opportunities for this University of Michigan team, as they are struggling to get any offense going after the utter domination we have seen from UIUC.
Yeah, and it's just so unfortunate because, again, the signs of life were there for Michigan, and they're still there.
Okay, I see you, Shawnee Boy. He got a hat trick.
Yeah, you know what? He's providing so much offense for this team right now. I'm really loving it. If they can just get this ball to Shawnee more often than not, I can see this being a much closer game. But even still, holding down by 2 goals, 14 seconds left, anything can really happen here. But they got to act fast.
Where they almost acted fast enough, but went straight to Navy Striker. There was Buddha in position, but was a little lagging behind the play. Not enough seconds on the clock for them to get the tie game they need, but might get a last-second goal and feel more confident going into next game. But looked pretty solid all across the pitch, but just UIUC overwhelmed them at the end of the day. More shots, didn't need many saves, and a lot more goals as well.
You're right, Nick, but here's the thing. The UIUC, like, they started out a little slow, and it was kind of scary for a second because you're like, well, hold on. This is UIUC. U of M is coming out here hot. But the problem here was that Michigan, they just gave them way too much space, and they kind of lost a lot of those fundamentals, especially with the defense. Just a couple of cases here, this would be a much closer game if just someone was back, for example, or someone went up for these 50-50s. This was only game one of this series, but this one felt like it lasted forever. It was also just simply because of how many goals were scored, too. So
we see so many high-scoring games so far. I'm excited to see what the next round of the playoffs is going to be like as well. But we still have this one to finish off for the two teams you see on your screen. University of Michigan and University of Illinois might be the chance for University of Michigan to bring themselves back into this series. Hope not to go down by 2 and be facing elimination early. But they are facing a great team, but they have a great shot towards that backside and almost jumping fast enough to get the punch into the back of the net, but again, barely off the mark.
Yeah, you know, if there were curveball physics, that would have been in.
I do not want to imagine what those shots would be like, trying to predict curveballs happening in Rocket League.
That'd be insane.
Very difficult, and we might see a crazier skill ceiling than we already have, but got to talk about the ones we see right now. Shawnee Boy trying to reach the top of it. Coolest sent it towards Shock. It's Navy Striker trying to bait out the attackers from University of Michigan. They'll all be up to Tie Scraper. Try and follow it up. Shawnee Boy off the backboard. Navy Striker can't get the touch, and there's Buddha for the first strike.
And this is just a culmination of all the Michigan offense here. Really starting to bring the pressure. I'm loving it. We already see 4 shots on net from Michigan. And just UIUC, this ball is staying on their half. And that's so key. As long as you can limit that offense and you keep up the pressure, then you're golden.
Now Buddha off the wall, carrying it forward, trying for a center, but knocked away by the defense. Shawnee Boy up to Tie Scraper with a booming clear and the reception by Navy Striker with a shot barely saved by Buddha, who had to go all the way from the other side of the pitch. Takes it forward, tries to take some boost, but no dice. Sends it off the coolest, and the dice they do need is going to be sending them all the way to a 2-goal lead.
And this is just so much different from the Michigan that we just saw. I'm loving the passing plays. We didn't see a whole lot of it in the second half of last game, so it's really good to see them come alive here. Take that 2-goal lead early on from UIUC, just completely negate all the momentum they were building up from game 1 and just bring them back to 0.
Now here comes Buddha. Navy Striker deflected off the Shock. Over top of Shawnee Boy, sends it down, almost in.
My gosh.
There's the final cleanup from Navy Striker. Basically was in at that point, but needed a little insurance to try and put it through and bring it within 1.
And it's just so, like, mind-boggling to me to see just the technical skill gap between these two teams, and that's really one of the difference makers here, is because you can't stop that every time. Like, when you give Shock lots of boosts, he's on top of your net with the ball, that's going to find a way in somehow. So there's a lot more variables to deal with if you're Michigan.
Ooh. And they almost had to deal with Tie Scraper again on offense, trying to tie things up. Barely put it off the mark. Now here comes Shock. Back wall, Navy Striker, up to Shock, cleared away. Buddha, the reception, trying to get it out as quickly as possible. You don't want to be in this position for too long before a goal goes through. The game is tied. Back to midfield. Here comes Shock. Can't get the block, but goes forward either way. Delays it as much as possible. And Navy Striker again, living up to his name and position as he puts it through for the 2 goals they need.
And again, just the defensive rotation. And Nick, I just, like, I call this out every single time. It's always defensive rotations that are messed up and that lead to these goals. And, like, almost like maybe 9 out of 10 times it's that. And it's almost disheartening to see, because these are very basic things the teams can work on.
Well, I feel like that's the hardest thing for a lot of these teams to practice as well is the defensive rotations and knowing when to be in position, because you got to have someone be putting a lot of shots towards you. Obviously, we see a lot of teams that don't do quite well being pretty good on the defensive end, but it's just not enough because you can't just have good defense. You also have to be able to push up when it matters, break past that line, so you're just not stuck in the dumps for the entire game.
No, absolutely right on that as well. Again, it's a good combination of your defense, your clearing, and your offense. If your clears aren't getting out to another player in your team, they're just going to go right back towards your net.
We see so many of those happening so far for the University of Michigan. It's overwhelming pressure going to lead to the goal for UIUC to bring themselves to the lead and potentially the victory here if things persist this way.
Yeah, and right now UIUC it's getting scary for Michigan because they're starting out hot in these games. It's almost like the opposite of Stockton, where they start out hot but they just can't finish here. And that's the big problem, especially against UIUC. You're going to have a lot of difficulty because they bring a lot of offense to the entire game.
Really the only offense we have seen after the first two goals scored by University of Michigan have been right off of a kickoff after UIUC scored, and then they're right back into the same routine where they're stuck in their half. They can't get it past. Even after there's a mistake like that in the double commit, it does lead to Koulis taking it forward, but not long enough for them to put a, well, didn't want to call it too early. They did have a shot on the net, but it wasn't going to lead to anything right there.
Yeah, I don't want to cast this curse it, but again, it's just UIUC. It's very interesting because see, you have this situation where everyone can miss the ball on UIUC's end, but there's no pressure coming in from Michigan, and that's so imperative, especially when there's under a minute left. You need to score, or else you're going to be down to a match point situation.
Looks like they might be getting closer to scoring that goal, and that's just it. The setup from Shawnee Boy, the finish from Koulis, and the execution by University of Michigan leads them to that tie game.
And again, like just a poor clear from Navy striker puts it right into the hands of Shawnee Boy, and gotta give props for Koulis. And it almost seems like they are listening. They're almost, because they all of a sudden, I talked about how no one's pressuring. Well, all of a sudden, Koulis brings that pressure, and it's exactly what they're looking for.
It's just we've gotten so good that we can telepathically communicate over the internet to these players. They're able to just retroactively pull off crazy game plans and change at the flip of a dime. But this time, a few seconds, has to hit the ground. Will potentially get us our first overtime unless the UIUC team is able to keep it up. It was a shock over the Navy striker. That's not going to be enough. As it hits the ground, we're granted overtime. This might be the chance that University of Michigan need to bring themselves back into the series.
Yeah, and hopefully the overtime reset, at least for Michigan's sake, kind of resets UIUC's offense as well and kind of treats it almost like a new game. And if they can get that going, that's going to be very good for them.
Well, what a great clear. Here's Shawnee Boy with the finish. Wow. There's the execution they needed. Great teamwork from these three players. Two on defense, getting that booming clear. Buddha credited with the assist, and Shawnee Boy cherry pick a position. University of Michigan barely able to bring things to a tie series, but what a way to do it.
Really, and talk about being in the right place at the right time for Shawnee Boy. I saw him going for that mid boost, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, no, this ball's coming to me. I'm going to turn this right around. He's able to get the score. So Michigan starving off UIUC, able to take game two in a very interesting fashion. We just didn't see this coming here, Vod.
Yeah.
We did not see Michigan taking this game. So, good props to them. And while we're on the topic almost, like we talk about these players being able to communicate what they're doing wrong. And like there's been talk recently of just allowing coaches to spectate in RLCS on the floor. And I think that's a very interesting debate topic because that could change the entire game.
Yes, every 60 seconds in between each match, they might be able to just talk about a little game strategy between the players and the coach, and that might help them out in the long run because they don't have to think about that themselves. They just got to play and react to the situations that they face in the 5 minutes or more of play each game. And that might be the way that the Rocket League scene evolves in a sense, but I feel like that's going to take a long time before we get to that point. We still have to get past all of these series happening for the Collegiate Star League playoffs, and we're only in round 2 as well. Plenty more Rocket League, and we still have a chance for either team to get the advantage again in this series.
Yeah, but Michigan right here, they're really bringing it early, and we saw this like in the last game too. They start out hot, but can they keep this up the entire game?
Oh, they could have done it there. Just needed the connection from Buddha, but barely missing the mark again. Now Shock, patiently taking this forward, clears it away, but Navy Striker knew he couldn't really get there fast enough. Has to rely on his teammates to back up, go for another pass. Now there's Shock with a great block, but Shawnee Boy with another one. And the defense just messed up by pushing up too early.
Oh, it definitely did. This ball wasn't even out of their own zone, and they were all moving forward. Kulis just pushed a little too far up. Maybe if he was back a little more, he would have had a much better angle to contest Ty Scraper. But Ty Scraper did a fantastic job. Again, we're seeing him in that cleanup position that he loves to do so much, and it's working out so well for UIUC.
That was very dangerous with the offense, and there it goes. Navy Striker set it up, cleared out the way for Shock, and he gets the touch.
And again, it's just going down to Michigan. They start out this game hot, but they just can't get back into the groove. Now, granted, that's almost kind of like a kickoff goal in a sense where both teams are still trying to, I guess, to get into position. UIUC is the one who won that battle first. But
this is where we need to see University of Michigan really pick things up on offense. There's a chance there, but they've just been barely off target. The accuracy just been lacking a little bit so far in this third game. Sorry, as a Shawnee Boy again not getting the touches. Be a chance though for Ty Scraper and Navy Striker to clear this out. This is probably the longest we have seen University of Michigan team be on the opposing side of the pitch. Now Kulis gets sent off the Buddha, pops it up into the corner. All three players, very dangerous position to be in. Now Shock takes it forward, off the wall. Not really a follow-up, but they don't need it as Navy Striker is there. Pops it up for Shock, who is cherry-picked, trying to pull off the play. We see a lot do so many times in the past, and not going to be enough.
And I think I feel like we're almost being a little bit unfair to Michigan because we're saying we're expecting so much from UIUC in this series, but Michigan, they managed to tie up this one. And you know what? I'm going to start putting a lot of pressure on them. I want to see them perform very well. I have high expectations. They proved to us that they can take UIUC, but now they're down by 2 goals. Can they tie this up?
Almost able to do it there again. Eventually one of these might go through unless they let something like that happen. Series of unfortunate events where 2 players were pushed up. One wasn't back far enough, but he thought he was and didn't expect this boomer of a shot going towards the net.
And Ty Scraper just taking advantage of the transition play here. 3-0 UIUC. This is tough. You have still 2 minutes left for Michigan, but you got to start sweating a little bit here. You got to bring the urgency because UIUC is not going to give you that many opportunities.
And UIUC is going to take an opportunity themselves. Kulis, though, crazy clear. But all for Nye as Navy Striker denies it. And there's Shock.
Okay.
Great coordination between these 2 players.
Just take a look how Navy's able to center this ball, first of all. With the oh my gosh, I thought he almost had the reset for a second. Almost did. And you know, if he did get the reset, I still wonder, would he have let Shot take it? Or maybe he would have gone and done his own thing. His team's leading by 3, so he has a lot of plasticity here. He can do whatever he wants. They're playing super well. Uh-oh.
No!
Okay,
No
that
way!
somehow it's gonna get saved. Okay, it had to go through at the end of that. It was basically in and somehow scooped out by Shock. Navy Striker tried by combating Kulis' attempts, and then eventually Shawnee Boy pushing it through the net. Now they finally are on the board in Game 3.
They almost had to get the goal line technology out on that play, bud, because that ball almost looked in. very, very early on. And oh man, can you imagine how different Rocket League would be if the ball just had to cross the line a little bit?
We'd see so many more goals, and we see even more happening from UIUC yet again off the kickoff. This is usually where University of Michigan have been pretty solid off the bat, but they've just been taking their foot off the gas pedal and just letting it go towards their half without contesting it at all.
Yeah, and they're starting to slow down. This is very major from them. They have to start bringing something here because, hey, this game looks like it's going to be a little bit out of reach for Michigan, but that doesn't mean give up. You need to start building up this momentum going into Game 4, or else you're going to have a lot of trouble. And again, it's not working out.
Yep, another big booming clear this time. I think this has been like 2 or 3 from Tie Scraper so far when he's been able to put those through. We saw the first goal and then 2 booming clears, getting that hat trick. 6-1. We aren't going to really see a comeback at this point unless a miracle is pulled off by University of Michigan, but they can improve on their performance, trying to go into that potentially final game in the next one if UIUC are able to take all the way there, because they would only need one more to move on to round 3 of the bracket, and they're looking pretty fierce for the competition in this one.
Yeah, and you know what? Just something about UIUC, like, they're just playing so just casually right now. And I'm being really serious when I say that. They're not really worrying about this game at all. I don't think they're worried about the series. I think they're confident that they're going to be able to take it so easily. And it's such a different mindset, especially on the other side of the field, where Michigan's probably thinking we have to play perfect every game if we want to make it past UIUC. So again, mentality is such a big aspect of Rocket League, and a lot of people don't give it enough credit. But
it's also about that mental stamina too, because if you're getting scored on this much and you don't really have an answer to it, then you're thinking, well, going into the next game, what are we gonna do if we get scored on in the opening minute by this team who is just the mental fortitude of like an iron wall? They don't have any cracks at all, and we've seen that happen so far this series.
Yeah, it's tough. It sure is, and honestly, like, losing 6-1 is tough. It's not Brazil, so at least you have that going for them, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a Brazil, but you know,
it's not a Brazil.
They probably could have scored one, in all honesty, from what we saw.
They
Great
definitely
play
should.
by all 3 players. Navy Striker really being the assist master that time instead of the main offensive force from what we saw happen in the other 2. So I feel like he's taking more of a supporting role in this series, and it's paying dividends for UIUC.
Yeah, you know, if you want to be a good player, you have to have that versatile role here on the pitch. You can't just be scoring goals left and right. You have to be able to adjust. So seeing that from Navy Striker is a very good thing. It's a very good thing to see UIUC kind of change their play style. It worked very well, and they adjusted from game 2, and they just did not give Michigan an inch. They gave them a goal, but other than that, they didn't give them almost any possession.
Almost saw another goal there as well, but the demo from Shawnee Boy onto Shock bit them in the butt as he was able to respawn in time and just get in the way of the open net opportunity that they had. Navy Striker setting it off to Tie Scraper. Open net, but he misses it actually, and he knew he would probably want to get that, so he actually set it up for the ball to go to Shock, and then he's just going to take it.
Yeah, 100% calculated play. Yeah, 100% calculated from Navy Striker, because he's like, I don't want to pad my points. I want to give all of them to Shock. And again, this just honestly goes to show, like, this technical skill from these players. Like, you can put that ball anywhere in the air. Shock's gonna go up and hit it. Like, it's scary.
And they even use
scary.
the other team to do that. They use the positioning of the defender to set up Shock, who is waiting on the right wing, and he was able to put it through after 3 defenders being there waiting for it. It's insane, the skill from this UIUC team, but it's not over yet. Still 4 minutes of play for University of Michigan to get us that game 5 and keep their hopes and dreams alive of progressing in the bracket further, and would obviously make their journey a little easier by taking out such a strong team as in UIUC.
Yeah, you know what's scary about UIUC?
What's scary?
I would argue that UIUC is not even the best team in the collegiate scene.
Which is insane.
It blows our mind because we have 2 RLRS players here. Like, RLS players and qualified players here. As against Shock, just doing absolutely anything he wants without any repercussions whatsoever on the field. But again, like I don't know. I think Buddha didn't have any boots on that play. It's unfortunate there. But
yeah, the offense of UIUC was just able to weave in and out of the defensive line as well. We saw all three players getting involved in that one. I think it was Ty Scraper off the backboard, then Navy Striker, then Shock in position to clean things up. They're just, we mentioned it before, the versatility of this roster. They're able to pick up where their teammates leave off and pull off any play they can think is necessary.
yeah, and that just goes to show just the level of just pure, not even talent, I would say, just
Experience.
experience. It's all experience, and they put a lot of hours into this game, and it shows.
Oh, yeah.
like a ton of hours. It's just.
I would like to have like a stat every single game, seeing the amount of hours. Well,
That's rough.
I got to take a break of what I was saying to see what happened here. Shock right over
Just
top
won
of
it.
Coolest, and then it just rolls on in gently, just walking down midfield and gonna take that. I don't. Not much to say
just-
about that one.
I think Michigan's running out of fuel in the tank. Unfortunately, unless they're an EV, then they're just running out of juice in their battery. Whatever your
A lot of
analogy
mechanical
is,
issues happening with this car, and it's not gonna bring them to their destination of those grand finals that they want. But yeah, you see, they
that's
look
tough.
like they're in perfect condition, like they're brand new, straight off the lot, been tested and tried multiple times before, and they are ready to move on in this tournament. 4-0, halfway mark. Possible, but unlikely for University of Michigan to get the comeback.
You know what's even scarier, Nick? I just the bracket. So if UIUC wins this and they move on, guess who they have to play in the next round?
Who do they got to play?
It's LSU.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my god, that's gonna be such a tough matchup. Oh my goodness.
Even if University of Michigan win this one, they have LSU waiting, so it's like a lose-lose situation.
And I always tell
God.
the LSU boys, like, I'm super biased for LSU. Like, I love the LSU team so much, and I always give them my support. But even though they're such a great team, I don't know. I still think this could be such a close series to see UIUC face them. But hey, this game's not over. There's still 2 minutes left. I want to see a 4-goal comeback.
We could have seen something there. Shawnee Boy was doing the work for his team, weaving in and out of the defense, but nobody was there supporting him. It seems that University of Michigan is a little bit too scared to challenge, but they can't afford to be. They're already down by 4 goals. Not enough time remains for them to be so passive.
Yeah, indeed. It's just, I don't think it's gonna be working out for Michigan here. They're just not. It's just not coming through, Vaughn. And it's almost disheartening to see because they really did bring it to UIUC at some points. They had some spectacular passing plays. It's just they couldn't replicate that same energy, that same vibes, and it's just killer for them as we see it again here.
And Coolest calling himself out on this one as well. Was pushed up a little bit too far on the play in midfield. Nobody at home base, and then Shock is just able to do whatever he wants with the ball whenever he's given that much space. And it's going to be another situation like we saw in the last game. Unfortunate for University of Michigan, but they can look at the VODs for this one and look at the mistakes that they have made and try and improve upon those for next time. We've seen a lot of the Shawnee Boy on offense, but Buddha and Kulis need a bit more coordination with him as well. He should be like the forefront of their offensive pressure, and then maybe they'll be able to coordinate, get those rebounds that have been kind of lacking from the offense of the University of Michigan.
Oh, Nick, right as you said they should review the VODs, you're absolutely right, and also came up with a really great business plan for you. Everyone has their own little Rocket League themed show. I think you should do a quick 5-minute VOD review.
that might be a good idea. I'll just name it VOD's Review.
VODs review. I love it. I love it.
Great.
Oh, that could be another one. Yeah, Shock. Again, it's just give Shock the ball. He's like, how do you hit this angle? Like,
I don't know at this point, honestly. He just could. They're just trying for random stuff, having fun with it, and at the end of the day, that's what Rocket League is about. Even though there is some competition going on, you gotta have fun with it and enjoy yourself, because that's the best way to improve. If you're not having fun, then you gotta take a break maybe and reevaluate what your motivations are for playing in a competitive format. But it's been great to see the team so far today. We do see UIUC. They're just gonna be messing with it. Eventually, Shock's like, okay, we gotta put it down. We don't want to keep it up for too long. They will be moving on to round 3 of the playoff bracket.
And just my game 4 notes right here, I just wrote oof. That's tough. It is tough because UIUC, they found their stride and they just did not stop running the second this game 4 started. And it's unfortunate for Michigan, but again, like we were talking about earlier, like it's so beneficial to go back and watch this VOD review. Like, VOD review. I'm thinking about your show now, Nick. I'm thinking about your show now. But no, seriously, like Michigan, if you're watching this, or if you know the Michigan players, tell them to watch this. Like, go back, save the replays. It's even better. Honestly, you can learn so much from your VOD reviews, and almost like no one does it. Like, and it's actually shocking to me. Like, to me, I don't do it because I don't expect to see myself to get out of Champ 3. But
That is the advice we have for all these players who didn't make it farther. You got to do the VOD review. You got to look at your replays, just improve, and always look to do better every series. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes you have a great day, but you need that consistency. And that's kind of what we saw from UIUC, and we expect to see from them if we see that series between them and LSU in the next round.
Well, we had 2 great series, Nick. Thank you so much for coming on with me tonight, for being in the booth. We got to see some great collegiate action and some very interesting things, and maybe some previews of what to see in the future, especially from both of our teams here, because now Stockton taking the upset. Like, I don't even want to call it an upset over UNCC, because they showed up.
It looked pretty
against
good.
them. And now UIUC going on through, they're going to be facing LSU. I believe Stockton is going to be facing the winner of MTU and Northeastern University's B team. So that is going to be a great series in itself, too. But that's going to be it for us for Collegiate Star League, for our Rocket League playoffs for today. I believe we're going to have more action coming to you all on Wednesday evening. Hopefully, I'm told by our lovely broadcaster, Peter. Again, I want to thank Peter for just running the broadcast for this evening. I want to thank just the whole entire Collegiate Star League staff for making this wonderful season possible. We'll be off for this evening, but I think there might be Dota 2 tonight, so stick around if you're really into some Dota 2. It's a really fun game. I haven't really dabbled in it myself, but from what I watch on Twitch, it's really competitive and it's real fun. So if you want to see some of that action, stay right here. I'm Meet and Greek.
I've been vaudable.
And sometimes he's been robo-vod, but that's it for tonight. We'll catch you all on the flip side. Stick around for some Dota 2. Take care.